First Call Out Bodybuilding Broadcast with your host, Adam Alcazari.
Welcome back to the First Call Out Show. I'm your host, Adam Alcazari, and this week's guest on the show is IFBB 212 pro bodybuilder, Adam Young. With contests around the country getting canceled left and right, Adam has maintained a strict contest prep regimen during the entire quarantine. And he's now just 3 weeks away from the 2020 Tampa Pro Show, looking to bring his absolute best physique ever to the stage. Guys, let's go ahead and get right into episode 14. My guest, IFBB Pro, Adam Young. It was a fun trip to come out and get to train with you guys.
Yeah, that was fun, dude. I'm glad you got to come out. I didn't know you were coming out there. That was good. That was a good time.
It was.
How'd you like Colorado?
Dude, it was great, man. I mean, honestly, it was a nice break from the craziness of LA. Just felt good to be in like a natural kind of city, and people were more calm, and especially with all the shit going on right now.
I'm sure LA is a lot.
It is, especially right now.
Sure. Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah, I see you working out with your mask on. I'm like, dude, I don't know how he does it.
I know.
I'm just praying they don't do that shit to us.
Yeah, now it's mask and glove required at any gym.
That's for, I mean, at least you can fucking lift, right?
That's what I keep telling myself, dude. I try to be like, find the good in it and be like, look, I'm going to look back on this in 5 years and be so happy that I was that motherfucker that trained through the quarantine.
Oh, fuck yeah, you will be. You totally will be. Fuck
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same for you, dude. You've been on a fucking prep for like how many months?
Well, I was going to do Indy, and then I was 8 weeks out from Indy, and that's when the quarantine went down. And then, so obviously that got canceled. So then I was just like, the quarantine got canceled. They shut down the gym. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to stay in the best shape that I possibly can. And I'm going to do whatever that takes. And so luckily Dorian built his garage gym. And then one of my clients, his girlfriend has access to, she's a cop. So she had access to a police department. So I was able to go there. So, I mean, it wasn't Arm Rest Pro Gym, but it was better than nothing.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome.
I definitely was able to like maintain my physique for sure. I just dieted the whole time. And I was relatively lean from, prepping for Indy. So I tried to just keep that all the way through. And then, I was like, well, whatever the first show is going to be, that's going to be, that's they're going to have on.
Right.
I'm going to jump into that. So Tampa Pro it is, buddy.
Dude, hell yeah. And right now you're 3 weeks out from Tampa?
Yeah, it's like 2.5 weeks out.
Awesome. How do you feel right now compared to like previous preps and the last time you did this show?
I honestly feel like way better, dude, during this prep, way better. Yeah. I mean, I've had some preps where I feel like I'm pretty good, but like there's been some preps where they've kicked me in the balls pretty hard. I'm not going to lie, And I love that shit. Like I love like the suffering part of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I definitely have felt my best this prep. Like we came down a little bit slower. Like when I prepped for Indy the last time I actually competed last year or about a year and a half ago, we dropped like 24 pounds, like within like the first month of prep. Damn. So it was like crazy drop. Yeah, dude. Crazy.
Did that mess with your head a little bit? Like to lose that much weight that fast?
I don't know. I just kept doing it, and I was like, I kind of get in that, like, I'm going to get as strong as I fucking can, mode. So like in a way you're like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, but then it's like, is this really productive? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to be able to maintain my muscle like I should? You know what I mean? That's why I think me and Dave came up with a better plan this time as far as coming down a little bit slower.
Yeah.
We didn't, and I stayed really lean. Like, actually, I mean, to be honest, like, from my last show all the way until now, like, I've been dieting the whole time. I mean, honestly, that's just kind of how I live my life.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, I stayed pretty lean. So, I mean, that always helps when you're, going to start a prep and you're already pretty lean. It makes shit that much easier,
Oh, dude, absolutely. I think that's something that, as I learn more and more and study guys that are, in your position in the pro ranks and just have fewer and fewer guys actually take a big bloated, dirty off season anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't, dude. I mean, I've done that. Like when I was young, like when I first started bodybuilding, dude, like I just was like, I'm gonna get as big as I fucking can. Like I'm gonna do whatever that takes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I did. You know, I ate like an ass off. You know, I did my fair drugs. You know, fair share of drugs. But you know, like you get smarter as you get older, buddy. You do, and you realize, you know, that's just not really how you do it, and you're not gonna build a better physique by doing that. So you learn, you know, if you really want to be good and improve your physique, you gotta, you know, keep that shape all year. So, you know, you're not blowing out your waist. You know, I already gotta keep that shit tight. So that's one thing, you know, for me that I'm conscious of all year is just trying to keep my waist as small as possible, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's just, you know, staying, like I said, staying lean, you know, you actually can see what the fuck's going on in the off season. You know, if you're just a big fat fuck, you don't really know what's going on because you just got a bunch of fat. You're just kind of throwing a Hail Mary at whatever you're doing.
You're right. Is that when you like, when it comes to prep, like contest prep for you, do you change much about like your day-to-day life? Like, I mean, I know you work as a trainer, right? Throughout the day.
Yep. Yeah. So I train about 10 to 12 clients at Armbrest Pro Gym every day.
Wow. It's a lot in one day.
It is. Yeah.
Good for you.
To be honest with you, dude, I don't train. Like, that's why I think honestly, this prep has been so easy because I really don't change much. Like my life doesn't really change just because all of a sudden I'm in contest prep. Like I pretty much live it. I mean, I live this lifestyle all the time. You know, I'll throw a couple cheat meals in here and there, but besides that, like I'm doing this shit all the time anyway. You know, The only thing that changes for me is I add some cardio and my calories drop. That's literally it. I train the same. I do the same shit. I live my life the same way. You know, like I said, the only thing that changes is I add cardio and I drop my calories. That's literally the only thing that changes.
I've just now started to understand that type of like year-round consistency with it, and it's easier now to just have really eggs and oats for breakfast. Like no matter what time, it's just stick to the simple, repetitive shit I can do every day.
I mean, I tell people like if you really want to be good at this shit, and I know that not everybody wants to live their life this way, and I totally fucking get that. And I think even with my clients, I get that. Like, but if you want to be the best bodybuilder that you can be, and that's my goal, you got to live like a fucking robot. Like you got to wake up, you got to do the same shit every day. If you got a guy that's doing this shit all year, you know, and you got a guy that is, you know, takes it serious as soon as the show prep starts, you're going to see the difference on stage. You know, the quality of muscle and the maturity of muscle. I mean, you're just going to see the difference. So.
I think it's also, you know, eating clean year round, you know, puts you in a position where like, it's just, how can I say this? It's just the same foods you eat all the time. Like it doesn't like these are the effective foods: rice, chicken, beef, oats, eggs. And I try to tell that to my clients. Yeah. And so, you know, whether off season or not, those foods build muscle. And I start to hit a wall if I eat regular food and try to have like a dirtier breakfast. By noon, I'm like I can't get the nutrients in really.
No, if it's all your body is not going to use all that food. You know, a lot of it's a bunch of shit. So your body's just going to either store it as fat or you're going to shit it out, you know, and then you're bloated because, you know, you're eating food that your body's not used to.
Right.
And then you feel like shit and then you can't train because you feel like shit. You know, it's just like, I've just learned over the years, like, I'm just very cautious of my digestion too, because like one thing that I try to be conscious of all year is just trying to keep my waist as small as possible.
Right.
You know, so like being aware of my digestion is a big thing for me. And I think that's just helped over the years for sure.
Do you do anything special as far as any like special drink mix or something or certain vegetables? I don't do anything
too crazy, to be honest with you. You know, I'll take my digestive enzymes when I need to, but in my probiotics, so that's honest. I mean, but like it's nothing crazy. And if I need to, you know, I'll add some extra greens, but I'm just more aware of like if, you know, a certain food gives me inflammation or I have like an inflammatory response to something, then I'll obviously, you know, make a change in my diet.
Back in the day, though, when we were like first getting into it, like we said, you didn't give a shit. Pay attention to know, this meal made me feel whatever, power through.
Oh, totally.
Nonstop, right?
Always. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, I remember there was a prep where I used to eat a Chipotle. I mean, not a prep, but an off season. I used to eat a Chipotle burrito at night every day.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you just learn. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, over the years, you just do stupid. Like, I've just done dumb shit. You know, over the years, and honestly, it's made me a better bodybuilder because I just know what not to do. To be honest, like
and
I mean, I could tell you stories for days.
And I think it probably makes you a way better coach and trainer and person to guide others because you've done you've done the wrong thing before? You've actually walked it, messed up, and then came back the other way?
That's exactly it. Like, I mean, that's what I tell people. I'm like, I was using the example, like, if I'm going to climb Mount Everest, I'm going to hire a motherfucker that climbed Mount Everest. I'm not going to hire someone that read about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think just like, like you said, just having that experience and, to trial and errors throughout my career and stuff, it's just made me a better bodybuilder, and it's allowed me to pass on that knowledge to my clients as well.
That's really cool, man. What part of the country did you grow up in? Where were you born?
I'm from Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm from Colorado, and then I went to the University of Alabama. So I lived out in the South for 5 years, and then I came back, and that's when I started bodybuilding. So I started bodybuilding after I graduated from the University of Alabama.
What sent you off to Alabama, down south? That's a real southern state, Alabama.
Oh, it's about as southern as it gets, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my whole family is from Alabama. My whole extended family is from Alabama. And so, like, I was always a huge Alabama football fan, and my cousins went there, and I went out there one time to an LSU Alabama football game.
Ooh.
Fucking loved it, dude. And
that shit's
like,
if
I'm going to school here.
Yeah.
So I went home and applied, and they accepted me, and I was like, I'm going. So yeah, I did it. And it was fun, dude. It was the best experience of my life. It was the greatest time ever.
That's really cool. Did you play sports in high school?
I played. Yeah, I played football, baseball, and wrestled.
Okay, so you did all the big ones.
I did. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What do you like the most?
I was baseball was probably my main sport. I loved football and wrestling too, just because I loved contact sports.
Yeah, high intensity shit.
Yeah, but baseball was like my best sport, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Did you want to pursue that into college, or were you more like ready to just have some fun?
I got a scholarship out of high school to a school in Kansas. So that's actually what I did. When I graduated high school, I went to play ball in a school in Kansas. And dude, I was 18, and like, it was a small school. And like, I'll be real, like, there was like 2 hot girls at the school. And I was like, this is not what I'm trying to do with my college experience. I'll be completely real. So I'm like, I called my dad. I'm like, I'm out. Like, this place is rough. So yeah. So then I came back here for a little bit, and I transferred back out to Alabama. And I mean, that was quite the experience, let me tell you.
That's really cool. That's
definitely wasn't living the bodybuilding life. I mean, I definitely stayed in shape in college, but like, I mean, if you go to University of Alabama, it's pretty tough to live the bodybuilding lifestyle and be social.
Oh, big time. And people don't realize until you've like lived in the South. I mean, I'm from Austin, Texas. It's a huge drinking town.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, dude, you know how it is, and that's all you do. Like,
that's all you do.
You party and watch football. That's what you do.
And if you don't do that, you don't have a social life.
You really have, pretty much
in those areas.
You're
a weirdo.
To be completely honest,
yeah. When did you get introduced to bodybuilding?
When I came back from Alabama, I mean, that was like my last year there. Like, I just got kind of lazy. Like, I was getting ready to graduate, and I was, just kind of focused on school and just getting through school. And I came back, and I kind of just let myself go for me, honestly, because I've always, to be honest, like, I've always been in good shape. Like, ever since I was like 15, I've loved the gym. I've just always been a gym rat.
Right.
But I never got into like competitive bodybuilding because I really didn't know much about it. I really didn't know anybody that was into it, to be honest with you. Yeah. I'm sure I would have gotten into it earlier because I just I've always loved it.
Yeah.
But actually, as far as competing in bodybuilding, I came back from Alabama, and then started back I started back at 24 Hour Fitness because I was like, I'm going to get in shape before I go back to arm rest because, I can't be going over to arm rest not in shape. Right.
Right.
No one really gives a shit, let's be honest.
That's such a bodybuilder mindset. They're like, I'm going to go get warmed up at this shitty gym, and then I'll go bring my stuff when it's ready.
Straight up. I was like, I can't be looking like shit when I go in there. So I got in pretty good shape, actually, when I came back. And then I was like, okay. And then actually a guy that was at 24 Hours, like, you need to be lifted at arm rest. So I was like, all right. So I went over there, and then I met Waddy. You know Alan Watkins? I don't. Oh, he's one of the trainers at arm rest. He's fucking great. One of my good buddies. But yeah, I met him at a bar one night downtown. Okay. And we just like randomly met, and he was like, dude, you'd be a great bodybuilder. And like, I always had thought about getting into bodybuilding. Like, it always crossed my mind. It's like, I feel like I had good genetics for it. I just loved it. I just loved that, that grinder mentality. So I was like, after he said that, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I should do that. And so, but I honestly didn't take him that serious. I remember that night we met, and like, we were out drinking and stuff. Right. So like, you know, I'm like, whatever. Like I met this random Asian
Hey bro, you should be a bodybuilder.
That's
like,
exactly
yeah, whatever,
it.
drunk
like,
dude.
like exactly. Like I met some random Asian dude that like apparently is a trainer, and like he told me I'd be a good bodybuilder. So like I actually set up a session with him that night. And then like again, I woke up and like I don't like you're at the bar, like this, like you're like whatever, like that was some drunken bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So he texted me the next day and he's like, dude, you missed your, he's like, hey, you missed your session. And I was like, fuck, dude, this guy's serious. And I was like, well, shit, dude, I'll come tomorrow. I was like, I didn't know you were actually serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I started training with him, and like, you know, I got in this mindset, like I'm gonna fucking do this, you know, like I'm gonna go all in on this. I want to see how good of a bodybuilder I can really be, you know.
Going into that, did you probably already had a really good base understanding of like how to train to be a bodybuilder?
Yeah, I
right?
did, dude. I mean, to be honest, like, you know, I was in good shape in college. Like, you know, I was all natural at the time. Like, you know, I didn't touch gear until I started competing in bodybuilding, to be completely honest.
Wow.
But yeah, I was in good shape, but I didn't know like the nutrition side. Like I thought I knew I knew I needed to eat a lot of food, and, you know, I didn't know like, you know, the nutrition side of it that much, but I knew how to train just because I was an athlete, you know, and
Right.
like I said, I always loved the gym. So I was pretty good at that part of it. I was always real strong, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of carried that over and was like, well, you know, I love this and I'm good at it. So let's see how, you know, great I can be at this.
You know, I think that's an important like part is some people have and don't is like having just the understanding of like athletic mechanics and how to like move weight at a young age.
It
like,
makes a huge difference.
I feel like that's the main reason. When I started lifting, I was 14 and I jumped right into the deep end, you know, with powerlifting stuff and like serious trying to learn how to train and gave it everything. And I think that's why once I got competitive in bodybuilding, it went really fast, like getting better. Like other people were still learning how to train. I feel like,
right.
You know,
and you already had that foundation.
Yeah. And you too.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. I think that makes a huge difference. Even if I get clients, you know, that have, you know, some experience, you know, you can, it's usually easier and, you know, to obviously transition your knowledge to them.
Right. Right. How did this guy help you for like, did you pick a contest?
Yeah.
With this guy?
Yeah. So Wadi, so I started training with him for a little bit, and then I was going to do the Northern. And then he just like pieced out to Vegas for like 3 months. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm going to do this show. I don't know how to bodybuild. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need somebody to help me with this shit. So I went up to Dylan. I was like, dude, did Wadi fucking die? Like, where the fuck is he, man? And so me and Dylan started talking. And I was like, well, hey, dude, would you prep me for the Northern? He was like, yeah, I'll prep you like you're going to the Olympia. And like, you know, I'm a very competitive person. So like, if I'm going to do something, like, and I really want to do it, like, I want to do it all in. So like that was exactly what I wanted to hear. So I was like, dude, let's do this. So yeah, so I did my first show with Dylan and I won the whole show. And
you won the overall?
I won the overall, my first show ever. Yeah, it was legit. Yeah,
that's fucking badass. Wow.
Yeah, as a middleweight. So yeah, so it started off great, and then I went to junior nationals and took third, and then there was a big. This show doesn't exist anymore, but it was called the Warrior Classic. And that was like it was actually one of the biggest shows here in Colorado, and came and won that. So like my first year, I won like I won 2 shows and took third at junior. So like it was a great year. Like got a photo shoot with Muscle Tech my first year.
Damn.
Like, I was on fire,
we gotta
dude.
pump the brakes on that. Dude. You gotta talk about that.
My first year was like my best year, dude. Seriously. Right? I'm like, what the hell?
That sounds better than a lot of like first year pros, right? Like
yeah, no, it was legit. Yeah, no, it was legit. So yeah, but they, you know how the supplement industry is now. But,
let's talk about the muscle. Cool. Let's talk about Muscle Tech because they were the fucking company back when we were getting into bodybuilding.
I thought it was the greatest thing because that was the company, dude,
yeah.
Right? So yeah, they just like, you know, I remember after my first show, I did a photo shoot and I was way more, proactive than I am now. I honestly don't really try or give a shit anymore, but I was sending out, my pictures to supplement companies and stuff. And I was just like, why not?
Yeah.
And I sent it to Muscle Tech and they hit me back up and they said they were looking for guys for a photo shoot. And dude, like they sent me a ton of stuff and flew me out to Toronto and put me in a hotel and did a photo shoot in Toronto. It was cool. It was a great experience.
Dude, that's really cool. Especially
it was super fun.
The first year of your bodybuilding.
Their took me to their headquarters. Yeah, it was super cool.
Wow. They were giving out fat contracts. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was way more proactive back in the day. Now I'm just like, whatever, dude. I just bodybuild because I love it now at this point, to be honest with you.
Right. But there's some good advice for these other young guys, like to go direct. Like you don't know who's going to answer that email maybe that day or,
totally.
and maybe it's the right time and you get a photo shoot that you never thought you could possibly get.
Like I said, like I had that mindset. I was like, what's the worst thing that happens is they don't hit me back up. Like,
right.
Okay, whatever.
I've always been
to my buddy.
What's up, dude? What's his name?
Brody.
What's up, Brody? Nice.
Hi. But yeah, that's my little buddy. I got him at the beginning of quarantine.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. You posted on your Instagram. It looked like
he's the man.
I bet that's been nice to have him around kind of while you're locked in the house a little bit, prepping.
It was the best time because I was working before the quarantine, dude, I was doing like 14 clients a day. Like I was waking up and literally working from like 5 to 8 straight.
Wow.
Like it was aggressive. Yeah. So there was no way I would ever be able to get a dog.
Yeah.
But once the quarantine happened, I was like, I'm gonna get a dog because they gave me like two months to train him. So yeah, it was legit.
That's really cool. I've heard that breed is a lot of fun. They have a lot of personality.
Dude, he's the best dog ever. Yeah. I love him.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's great.
So after having like one really good starting year to competitive bodybuilding and winning shows, did your whole attitude towards like, I'm going to be a pro, did that switch on immediately? Like you're winning. You got some stuff rolling.
I was confident that I had, the ability to turn pro pretty early on. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
But I just had to kind of understand bodybuilding more. Like I said, I won the whole show, like my first show. So like you could ask Dylan, like I thought I was ready to take on Phil Heath.
Oh, I know.
And then you look back and you're like, all right, easy, bro. But
we're all that way, man.
You're like, I'm fucking, you're ready to, you think you're ready to take on Phil, but then you look back, you're like, not quite ready. But I look good for my first show, right?
Yeah.
But what were you saying again?
So like after that first year and you won a show, you're on the radar now in competitive bodybuilding. From there, did you quickly ramp up and be like, all right, I want to get to a national show. I need to sure. How did the progression go towards your pro card?
My first pro qualifier was nationals and it was in Miami. And I think I got 10th and there was like 40 dudes in my class, crazy amount of dudes in my class. It was a great experience. I was, I needed a little more size, but I was definitely competitive for sure. That was my second year of bodybuilding.
Right.
So yeah, that was the first national show. And then, there was, it took me, 5 years to, finally get the pro card. It's going through the national ranks. I took some hits on the chin for sure, but I told you numerous of those shows, they were my own fault. Like I loaded like an idiot, I just did dumb shit at the very end. Like I'd be in great shape. Like the USA's before I won my pro card, it was my first show that me and Dave worked together. And like, I was peeled going in and we just junk loaded it way too hard. And I spilled over so bad and I sweated my ass off on stage. And then, but then, like I said, then my next show, we loaded completely different and I won my pro card. So you just learn those little things, over the years that, my biggest problem when I was, younger in my amateur years is I always thought, I'd get peeled for these shows. Then I thought I'd freaking have to eat all this food. I was going to turn into Phil Heath overnight. And you're not.
Yeah.
You don't have to load so hard. I think that was one of my biggest issues when I was, coming up is I wanted to load up so hard, and it's like, you don't really have to do that. Like when your body's super sensitive, you don't have to load up with so much shit.
To get it back. Yeah.
You really don't. Yeah. And my biggest thing now, like I'm almost the opposite. Like, I'll eat some clean meals. And if I need to, I'll eat maybe a dirty meal just to fill back out because you don't have to come down to 212.
Yeah.
But I don't, in the mornings, to be honest with you, like I'll eat like maybe some eggs, maybe a couple of, tablespoons of almond butter, maybe. And then just go on stage. Like I really honestly don't even eat carbs in the morning because I don't want to have any inflammation in my stomach.
Man, that's exactly the route I'm going. And Dave had to learn that with me the hard way too. Yeah. And now next time we're doing it like that. Yeah.
It just, I just kind of figured it out before North Americans. I was like, I'd wake up and I was just peeled, and then like if I ate, like I was still peeled, but like I would be I wouldn't be quite as crisp.
Yes.
So I'm like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, why if I look the best when I first wake up, why would I mess with that? You know what I mean? Like, why don't I just keep fasted on stage?
Yeah.
So I did that literally. That was the first show I ever did that was North Americans, and I won my pro card.
Wow.
Like I had never done that where I just literally just didn't eat anything before the show and like tried to keep my waist as small as possible.
Yeah.
And it worked well.
And, you know, Dave always talks about this, like getting up there with that truly empty feeling, like
yes,
empty
dude,
in your guts. You just pose better. I mean, for me, I have
totally
stomach issues at time. It's a whole different sensation for you.
You just have more control. And like with me, like if I blow my waist down, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Like it fucks my physique up. You know, like I have to have my waist pulled in as much as possible and be as dry as possible. That's just my look. And that's the thing is you don't have to load up so much in the morning like people think because you're going to have that glycogen in the muscle from loading up the night before. Like I'll weigh in, you know, and make weight, you know, and then I'll go eat, you know, 3 to 4 meals and then go to bed.
Right.
You know, but you're going to have that glycogen and all that, you know, from the food that you ate the night before. And then you sleep, digest all that food, waist is nice and small, go on stage, but you're still full from the night before. So that's the combination I found has worked best for me.
That's a really smart tactic, and it works for me that way too. And it makes more sense once you actually get in there and realize that. The only issue I have a little bit that I fear is me and you both know these shows, once you get backstage, can run way longer than you think.
Oh, totally.
And I get worried my blood sugar is going to drop at 10 a.m. after not having anything. And that's my only thing in the back of my mind. I try to be really calm so it doesn't, right? That's part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because I remember for Dallas, this was actually one of my best looks, if not my best look. I remember I think prejudging was at like 4:00 in the afternoon, and I fasted like all day. And like you think I'd be flat, but I wasn't, dude. I mean, I nailed that look, and like I fasted all day. So like, yeah, I mean, like I didn't feel too bad, but like towards showtime, like I started getting like you started to feel the low blood sugar for sure.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was like, you know what? I freaking made it this long. I ain't eating shit.
Right. And plus, I mean, and we've been on prep, so low blood sugar is not a new fucking sensation.
And that's exactly it. I'm dude, I live my life with low blood sugar. Like that's just how I fucking live my life at this point. So it's like whatever, dude. Like what's suffering a couple more, like another hour. I think I'll be okay.
Right. You're right. Tell us about like the night you won your pro card. What did you do after? How did that feel? What was that night like for you?
Oh, I was in Pittsburgh, and it didn't get done until pretty late. But I went to a nice restaurant with Dave and the girl I was dating at the time, and it was just like it was such a relief, to be honest with you, because I still do, but you know, I put a lot of pressure on myself, you know. So I think finally getting that pro card, I think any bodybuilder, I think you can attest, it's like finally, you know what I mean? Like it's just like that's like the ultimate goal, I think, for any bodybuilder is to get that pro card, you know. And then, you know, if you can be successful in the pros, fucking great, you know. But I think, you know, any you know, amateur, the goal is to get the pro card, and I think once you accomplish that, it's, you know, it was just I felt relieved, to be honest. I
totally resonate with that. I think that's going to be the same feeling I have, just relief.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
And like a little bit of that. I mean, did it feel good to also be able to reflect and go, dude, I'm the motherfucker who did his dream. Like how many people actually say, I'm going to be this, and then you become it and actually mold yourself in the flesh to become it. Like,
like I said, that's the most satisfying part, to be honest. I mean, because let's be real, like what we do, I mean, it's a day in, day out grind, and it's, you know, not everybody can do this shit. Let's be real. I mean, that's why you don't see people walking around like that look like us, because this shit's hard, you know? So, yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing, it was just a very satisfying win in so many different ways. Yeah. You know, like I was so bummed because, like I, you know, said earlier, I went to USA's and, you know, I looked great and I completely loaded like a fucking idiot. And then like I got ninth, and I was just like, you know, devastated because I put so much work into that prep. Got ninth. So I was like, you know, Dave's like, you know, we're going to do the next show. We're going to do this completely different. We did. And obviously it was very successful. That's
awesome. That's really cool. How did you meet Dave?
So I was training with, Dylan, you know, Dylan Armbrust, the owner of Armbrust Program. So Dylan's like my best buddy. And so I started training with him, like I said, and then me and him, actually, we were prepping. He was going to do masters, you know, about 3 years ago. He was going to do masters and I was doing USA. So we were prepping him at the same time, and he was my coach. Well, you know how you get when you're under 4 weeks, your head's just not all there, and you're kind of, you kind of got to be a little bit, you got to put the blinders on and, kind of be selfish in a way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and this was a very unselfish thing for him to do. He was like, I think, because he was working with Dave. And so he was like, I think, these next 4 weeks with you going into USA's and me being in prep, I think you need to have somebody that can be a little bit more like in tune with what you're doing, and it got to the point, like, honestly, and, and Dylan will say the same thing. It was like, we're just like best buddies now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it wasn't like, I honestly had gained even more respect for him because, I was like, it's kind of cool that you looked out for me, and it wasn't like, oh, I'll do both, even though, I know I can't still do the job that I normally would, you know what I mean? Right. It was cool. He was like, hey, you need to have someone that can, take you in 100%, you know what I mean? So that was cool for Dylan,
That is.
So yeah, so he set me up with Dave because Dorian was working with Dave, and then Dylan was working with Dave, and then I started working with Dave after that. So, and Dave's the fucking man. He's just like the best dude ever. Like, if you don't like Dave Kalick, then fuck you.
I agree.
Because that guy is a fucking good dude, man. Like he has the biggest heart, and he does this for the right reasons. Like, dude, he doesn't do this for the money, dude. He does this because he loves this shit, man.
You're right.
So, Dave's just a good dude. And like, honestly, I don't see myself really working with anybody else, to be honest with you, because my loyalty is to Dave.
I feel the same exact way. And dude, like there's, he has the knowledge for everything we need. Like I don't know why these people jump around. Like I feel so lucky to have one person that I trust as a human.
Dude, like that's the biggest thing, like that I love working with Dave is like, I trust him as a friend. You know what I mean? He's not just like, he's not just like trying to shove steroids down my body to fucking make me this huge bodybuilder. Like, he looks after me as a human being and his friend first before a bodybuilder.
Absolutely.
So that's the biggest thing, about Dave is he's just, he's a good human. Yes. And I like that. I don't want a coach that, I pay $5,000 and he doesn't even know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So, yeah. I
mean, we've built a really, really good relationship, and it's nice to have that, true trust in a coach where you genuinely know they have your back. It's just a good feeling to have.
It really is. And once I actually flew to Denver and came and met all three of you guys too, like it really clicked for me. Like, I get it. This is Dave Kalick's crew. Like these are
totally
select people. Each person is a good human being. Like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, the apple doesn't fall apart from the tree, I guess, in that sense too.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he works with good people, and, he's a good dude. So it works well. That's the thing.
It does. I was going to ask you, like, what bodybuilders inspired you the most coming up? Like, who are the guys you followed?
I think you asked me that when I saw you. I mean, like I said, when I got into bodybuilding, it wasn't like I was like a huge bodybuilding fan. And I just got into bodybuilding because I loved, I got into bodybuilding because I honestly thought I'd be really good at it.
Yeah.
And when I got into it, Dylan used to tell me that I looked like Flex Lewis. So I would say that probably Flex Lewis was my biggest inspiration, to be honest with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, he's awesome, man. I watch his Instagram, for motivational stuff once in a while, just because, dude, for sure. He's got like he's even bigger than bodybuilding now. He's got sponsored by Monster.
Too, dude.
Yeah,
dude, he's a badass, dude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Flex is he does it right for sure.
He does.
That's, I try to be, a businessman first. Obviously that's what pays the bills and shit. But
right.
Business always comes first, and I respect him because he's a very good businessman as well.
I totally agree with that. And I've always wanted to be one of those bodybuilders. I always set out and said, look, I'm going to be a businesman and a bodybuilder.
Of course,
like I don't, like Rich Gaspari and Lila Brada, all these guys.
Exactly. Because these kids, I had a client one time, he told me, I want to turn pro so I don't have to work anymore. And I literally laughed in his face. I was like, that's funny, buddy. Like, it doesn't work like that, dude. Like, it's a great accomplishment, but like, you're not going to wake up with a Ferrari on your front lawn. Like, I wish we did.
Yeah. And here's a here's a wake up call. Dexter Jackson doesn't have a supplement contract. Phil Heath doesn't have a supplement contract. Yeah. I mean, you think you're going to get on that level, and they don't have deals. I hate to break it
to you. If you don't have one, and they don't have one, you probably ain't getting one. For being real.
Yeah.
Hate to be a buzzkill, but just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing, dude. That's why I've always had that mentality. Like, I know the sport costs money. Like, I'm not going to rely on, a sponsor. Let's be real at this point. It's not like you're making millions off, supplement sponsors in bodybuilding anymore. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I always take my work first, and try to, put that grinder mentality to, life as well.
That's great advice and a good way to live. I feel the same way. I feel like, what's been an interesting test for me is like, I think by having a real job, being busy, having to do real stuff all day outside of bodybuilding, my bodybuilding actually falls into line smoother and better, and a prep goes better rather than if I was the guy with a contract and video games all day and just waiting for meal 3. Like,
I agree. It drives me nuts. Like, that's what I told somebody the other day. Like, I used to take the week off right before a show.
Yeah.
And, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore, because I just sit there and, like, if I'm super depleted, like, I'll just lay on the couch and I'm like, okay, just like waiting for my next meal.
Yeah.
So it's like, at least when I'm like training my clients, like, yeah, you might not have the most energy, but at least you're doing shit.
Yeah.
I'm like staying busy. And like, that's one big thing I've tried to do this prep is just like literally just move my body as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get my cardio done on the stairs. I've been doing 20 minutes of stairs and then 20 minutes of incline on the treadmill, and then I'll walk my dog at night, and then like I said, I train 10 to 12 people a day. So I'm just trying to move my body all day. You know what I mean? I think that's another thing that also helps with getting lean is just, your daily energy expenditure.
I agree. When I had a job that was on my feet all day long, moving around, it was the leanest, driest look I ever got because I was just nipping away at the fat all day, a little bit.
Straight up. Yeah. I mean, you're not eating shit, you know what I mean? So it's a mental thing, and you just gotta be mentally tough if you really want to do this shit and be good at it.
Do you think mental toughness has been the biggest attribute that helped you become a professional bodybuilder?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
The main thing, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think, that's the key thing I think that has separated me, honestly, is I love just like pushing my body to the point where like, you're hurt, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I just love that shit. I do. Like, it's just the competitive mindset. I've been an athlete my whole life, and it just kind of I don't know. It just bodybuilding just came really natural to me. It was mentally too, not just physically, mentally.
Right. You almost feel it's almost like you probably feel more comfortable doing something that's difficult and knowing you're putting pressure on yourself daily and you're changing something, you're molding yourself,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about that earlier. Like, I mean, if you want to be honest, like, I love being in contest prep. Like, I just love like that tight structure and like knowing I got to be peeled by this time and like, just putting in that work. Like, it's rough, but like, I honestly love it.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. That's, here's the thing too. People need to hear guys like you actually say this, because there's a lot of people with social media getting into the sport of competitive bodybuilding, and they don't connect that to succeed at it, you need to be a little bit sadistic, a little bit of a person that is willing to inflict discomfort on themselves.
You do.
And it's too shiny, like, and pretty. Now.
I think that's what really separates people, at the pro level as well, is just like who has the balls to like dig deep and like truly suffer when you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Because like, the guys will feel like shit. They know they'll, eat some extra carbs and they feel great. They're fine. Yeah. But your body's not going to allow you to get as peeled, as you need to win pro shows if you do that. So that's just the kind of the advantage that I try to, give myself is, that's something that I can control, so if I can out suffer these dudes, that's just an advantage that I can give myself, and I can control that. There's a lot of things in bodybuilding you can't control, most things, but that's one thing that you can control.
You're absolutely right. That's really insightful. That's the one piece you can do, the not cheating, the discipline. And that's what's going to push you ahead. That's what makes the 1 inch difference.
And that's what's so rewarding at the end of a prep is you can truly be like, you know what? I fucking did everything that I could to be in the best shape that I possibly could. And like, I've had shows that I could say that honestly, and I placed like shit.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But like at the end of the day, it's like, fuck it. Like I couldn't have done anything else. So it's like, what are you going to do? All you do is just keep going. All you can do.
once you started competing as a 212 pro, what was like something, was there anything, was it different than how you thought it would be once you actually started doing pro shows and you met some of these guys, you're backstage? Was it what you expected?
It's pretty chill, to be honest. Like compared to like the amateur ranks, I think that's a little bit more like, you know, people are a little bit more like worked up before the shows. Like it's pretty chill backstage. Guys are pretty chill. Like they're kind of like shooting the shit, you know, before the show. Yeah, it's not like super, you know, there's not like animosity or anything backstage. Like everybody's super chill. It's pretty relaxed, to be honest.
Yeah. What as far as your preps, like like this one compared to your last prep with Dave, how's this one been different?
Like I said, just coming down a little bit slower.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, like I said, you know, it's with how I live my life. It's like, all it is just adding some cardio and dropping the calories. It's nothing crazy, you know? So yeah, he's the man. He just, you know, sends me a new diet every day and I just wake up and do whatever he says. And that's just how we do it.
You guys make daily adjustments at this point?
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, dude. Pretty much. Yeah. I'll wake up, you know, about 4 or 5 a.m. and, you know, I'll have a new diet sitting in my WhatsApp box, just waiting to go.
Nice. What do you still have to really like barely make 212, or is it become like more locked in? Or I know you were almost doing open for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like 215 right now. So, I mean, I came down, you know, I'm not like, it's not like I'm going to have to like go sit in the sauna for 6 hours and make weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it hasn't been bad. I mean, it really hasn't, you know, I just kind of chip at it. But yeah, I did consider going to the open. But I just, you know, my heart's still in the 212s, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I you know, I just like staying in shape all year at this point in my life. And, you know, if I have to go to the open, like, you know, I'll have to get up to like 260, 270. And it's just like, it's just aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'll never do the open, but right now I'm pretty happy with 212s.
Could you imagine yourself carrying that next level size and going open all the way and just committing to it? Do you want to be that heavy and carry that weight?
Like I said, I've thought about it. I've gone back and forth about it, but I just think I'm more competitive with like my structure and, you know, and my size in 212s, to be honest. And like, I honestly, to be completely honest with you, I just don't want to have to like push the drugs and like, you know, have to eat until like, you know, I look like I'm going to pop.
Yeah.
I just don't, to be honest with you. And I feel good in the 212s. Like I like that. Like I said, you know, it requires me to stay lean all year. Otherwise, you know, I won't make weight.
At the size you're at now too, like you can still you're huge and you're a pro bodybuilder, but I feel like you can still have some of the day-to-day functionality to go train your people, hop in and out of the car. Like when you're 260 at 5'7", right? That's your height.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Like,
I'm about 5'6.5", 5'7".
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot
that's exactly
of weight.
it, dude. It's exactly it. And it's hard enough being 240. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, pushing 20 more pounds on my frame. Like, you know, that's another thing. Like I said, you know, I'm not trying to like blow my waist out. You know, I'm more about quality at this point and quantity.
Yeah. How do you think this show's going to go off in Tampa? What do you see with this whole everything going on?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. Like, I'm trying not to think about it, to be honest, because I don't want to even have to worry about something that I can't control.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, going into, I mean, I didn't know if it was going to get canceled, you know, any day, you know?
Right.
But it's just like, you know, if you're going to do it, you have to go all in. You can't just like, you know, go halfway just in case the, you know, show gets canceled because of the coronavirus.
Right.
You know, I've seen some people wearing masks on stage. I really hope that's not the case for us, but you know, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to roll with it and be, I guess, happy that you're able to complete your mission and get up on stage and finish the prep. And, you know,
that's it, dude. That's it.
If this goes off pretty smoothly, in the next couple of weeks, are you and Dave looking to kind of roll into the next one and just go?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to do the Puerto Rico Pro after, if that's still going to be on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I hate to say it, but I don't see New York going on in September.
I don't think so.
I just don't. And then, you know, Chicago, same thing. Who knows? You know what I mean? Chicago's not doing too hot either. So who knows, dude? I don't know. It's, you know, at this point, I think a lot of it's up to the politicians.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So who knows? But yeah, I would love to go to hit Puerto Rico 4 weeks after. I would love that.
Nice. Did you do that show last year?
No, my buddy Brett did, and they loved it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, have you ever traveled internationally? I know Puerto Rico's.
I haven't. No, I haven't. So that'll be interesting with like, how it is food and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll have to figure all that out.
Yeah, that's kind of always been one big thing I've been interested in, of how some of these guys, like back in the 90s, guys like Lavroni and them did like the whole European tour.
I know, it's crazy. I think about that. I'm like, dude, what do these guys do with their food
and their gear and all this stuff?
I guess you just figure it out. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I actually have way more respect for them to realize they like just rolled it on the road like that. And like,
totally.
Find some chicken and rice in France.
It's not easy. No shit, right? Like, that's exactly it. It's not easy to find.
And without any, internet too. No way to order anything or anything. I mean,
right. No shit. I mean, touche.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Do you like that 90s era bodybuilding? Do you have like a favorite era?
I'm a big Dorian Yates fan. I just love his, he's just a bit, he's
the guy in every
nasty physique. Yeah. He's just the shit. So yeah, I love his physique. He's probably my favorite in the 90s, no doubt. I'd say him and Flex Lewis are my two favorites.
Yeah. Who do you see coming up in the 212 in this show in Tampa? That's like that. Who are they kind of looking at for the top 5 or top 10?
There's going to be a bunch of good dudes. It looks like I saw that George Patterson. He's coming up from Classic Physique. He looks good.
Yeah, he's got a crazy physique.
Yeah, Justin Randall. He's real conditioned. He's a good bodybuilder, real consistent guy. He comes in real good shape. Saw Derek Olson. Got great shape. But yeah, there's going to be a couple other guys. But yeah, I think it looked about 10 of us. At least that's what the Bodybuilders Without Borders had said. So. But yeah, like I said, I'm ready to stand up there with anybody. So,
dude, hell yeah, you look incredible, man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Etched out of stone. And when I got to see you pose in person at Armbrust, my jaw hit the floor, dude. It was crazy. Muscle density and legs are insane. Like, you're gonna do really well.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And I don't want to hold you up for too much longer. I know you probably got stuff to do, and it's on your Sunday.
The only thing is, my phone's gonna die pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. We can wrap it up. This was great, man.
It was like 10%. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I think that was great, dude. That was great.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing? A little bit of advice to let's say an 18 or 19-year-old guy coming up into bodybuilding right now, with all the social media stuff the way it is, what advice would you give to a new competitive bodybuilder, 18, 19-year-old guy entering the sport that you wish you knew going in?
Train hard, eat a lot of food, be patient, and don't beat yourself up too much.
Right. That's good advice.
Just enjoy the process. It'll happen, and just be consistent. That's the biggest thing.
Great advice. Thanks, Adam. This was awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Have a great night. All right. Good luck in Tampa. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm glad y'all could join us. I had a great time talking with Adam, and we wish him the absolute best of luck going into the Tampa show in the next few weeks. And we really hope that the show goes off without a hitch. And however it looks is how it goes, whether they're wearing masks or social distancing on stage. It doesn't matter to the athlete. A champion's always going to bring their best. And it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. Guys, if you're enjoying the interviews that we're putting out here, give us a review on iTunes, and also follow us on Instagram and our Facebook pages at The First Call Out Show. We also have our brand new YouTube channel up. So please like and subscribe to The First Call Out Show Bodybuilding Broadcast. Just look that up on the search bar on YouTube and you can find our channel. Like and subscribe. Guys, until next time, train hard, be different, do what it takes, live your sport.